Welcome to the Fearless Entrepreneurs Podcast, where we share the incredible stories of Canada's boldest business owners. I'm your host, Cindy Chang, founder of Evolve Consulting Co. Join us as we explore the stories behind why these entrepreneurs started their businesses, the challenges that they faced, and how they leaned into their fears. So whether you're an entrepreneur or just love inspiring stories, let's take a deep dive into their journeys. Let's go. Today, we're excited to introduce Osob founder of Osobelle Tea Co, whose journey is one of resilience, authenticity, and purpose. Born in Kenya and now a dedicated mother of four, Osob has transformed her life experiences, including the profound loss of her husband 5 years ago, into a mission that's not only about tea, but about healing, self-care, and building community. Now a passionate mother of four and an entrepreneur based in Burlington, Ontario, Osob has poured her heritage and love of tea into Osobelle, a female-owned sustainable tea company that brings the art of whole tea leaf to life with rich aromatic spices and flavors. Her blends are carefully crafted, not just to taste great, but to bring people together, fostering moments of connection and comfort. But it doesn't stop there. Osobelle Tea goes beyond the cup by supporting global tea farmers and hosting local tea socials for seniors, creating a sense of community everywhere her tea is shared. Get ready to be inspired as we dive into Osob's journey, her passion for sustainable business, and how she's transforming the way we experience tea one cup at a time. Welcome, Osob, to the show.
Thank you, Cindy. Wow, how I'm very excited.
You should be.
I am really excited. Thank you for having me.
I am so honored to have you here. You just listened to all of your achievements in a short summary. How does it make you feel to listen to someone else say all of that?
As you were speaking of it, I was really getting incredibly excited but humble at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm quite humbled by you sharing. Usually when someone else is re-narrating something about yourself, oftentimes you keep on going. We never really hear that or know that per se. We do know in our quiet times, but it's very different when it's read to you out loud. So Thank you.
My pleasure. It's one of my favorite moments to start off with the podcast because it really is a celebration of what you've accomplished. And you should be so proud of yourself. The tea, we are going to do a live tea demo. We're going to drink it live on air, which is the first time we've ever done that. And it smells incredible.
And some of the things that actually inspired me even more, but the aroma of a good quality tea leaf takes you to another level.
Yeah.
It brings your senses to a different level. Now you smell it, then now you want to taste it. So I'm really excited about our experience today.
I cannot wait. So you were born in East Africa and you and your family moved here when you were a teenager. So tell us about what the decision was to move to Canada.
The decision to move to Canada mainly was because of certain wars that happened in East Africa and some famine and economic reasons. My family migrated to Dubai, and then my sister and I came with my brother and his family to Canada to study.
Right.
So it was more of a young girl exploring Canada to get a better education and, of course, the Canadian dream.
Tell us about your journey to tea from there.
So my journey to tea started November 2019.
Okay.
I got married about 1993. And then, of course, after a long and happy and the most synergetic, beautiful marriage, lost my husband in 2019 May.
Wow.
And then started Osobelle Tea. So the kids and I, through the process, started traveling to Europe because we needed to step away from the situation at the time. And Osobelle Tea was actually born during that process. More of an introspection, but looking for something that would really bring joy, fun, and light in our lives.
I love that. I love that. And so if you had started the company in November 2019, that was right before the whole pandemic happened too.
Oh, yes.
We didn't all know it, that it was going to happen in 2019, right?
Absolutely not. I think that really gave the opportunity for the business to marinate a little better because, of course, I was at home blending different teas and started experimenting what made me feel good and what times. But I also remember during the pandemic going for long walks and really filling my big thermos mug with tea that I made at home that was really delicious, and just going to the escarpment or going for long hikes and walks. It's funny you asked that, Cindy, because really much of the marination of the process of becoming an entrepreneur, but also discovering the health benefits of tea happened during COVID.
Interesting. That almost forced you to be able to look at alternative health methods to be able to take us all through a tough time, whether it was mentally, whether it was physically. I want to get into all of that. But before we get into that, let's rewind a little bit. You had been in corporate for 18, 19 years, 12 of those years in nonprofit.
Yes, in corporate world.
What was that pivotal moment that you gave that all up to start a tea company?
Wow, okay. Amazing questions. I'm so excited to share this. When I worked in the corporate world, and I did various positions with a local company in Burlington, and much of my responsibilities was day-to-day stressors, maintaining operations, supporting in many aspects of the business, etc. So it was like any typical corporate world where it's 9 to 5, move. And of course, the results will tell whether the movements were
metrics KPIs,
in line, the
all
KPIs,
of that.
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember grateful for the time because the kids were little. As much as it was hectic, it was actually also economically sustainable thing that we needed at the time as a family. However, just before my husband's passing, he wasn't feeling well. I ended up exiting the corporate world. And through the process, reconnected back to the nonprofit world. I held a position as a director of grants and community engagement for a local foundation. While I was in corporate, I always had a very intense urge to give back to the community. It meant a lot for me. It provided me with the strongest sense of purpose. Because while you're in a corporate, we all know it's all about production and productivity and ins and outs, bottom lines, KPIs like you mentioned. But in the evenings, I would really support like community. I would volunteer. I'll take the kids to soccer. My late husband coached my kids for soccer. He was in the rep soccer up until this day. I still connect with some of the kids that he coached. So part of giving back to the community was always built in that equation for almost 10 years. And then when I left corporate and through the process and my husband's passing, I have reconnected back to re-engage into the nonprofit and now make it my official purpose. So it was really giving me more official status of saying, okay, I can still earn my 9 to 5 living while I create an impact.
Right.
While that was happening, Osobelle Tea was born and founded. So I was hustling.
So it was a side hustle for you.
It was a side hustle that was literally crying for attention, of course, demanding a lot of attention. But like many women always fall through that process, there is the demand, and then there is, of course, which we will talk about it, the fear of what if I leave the 9 to 5 job and I completely allocate myself fully to the business. Now what?
Yeah. What if I fail? What if I don't make any money?
Oh, what
if I can't, like you have 4 kids. In this time, your priorities were your kids. So that must have been a really tough decision.
It was. And I think that journey, Cindy, is in particular, very common for almost all entrepreneurs. Whether we see a very successful multi-billion-dollar business that's currently existing, there is always that initial founder. Unfortunately, that fear can sometimes break you if you don't overcome. And I don't want to discount by saying, yeah, it's a normal process. It's definitely normal process, but if you don't have the right support or relationships around you or connection and network and folks who can mentor you, that fear can take you out.
Yeah. It becomes bigger
Realistically.
than you almost.
Almost. And it takes different narratives.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the entrepreneur's anthem, right? It's like constantly overcoming that fear. What if this happens? And yet entrepreneurs always find a way to push through. And so what was that tipping point for you to be like, I've had enough in corporate. I've served my time here. Tea is what I'm going to focus on. When was that pivotal moment for you?
early this year, January, and it didn't officially fully manifest itself until August. Yeah. So started the recognition of my tea business being my ultimate purpose.
Yes.
So we all have a calling.
Yeah.
And whatever that calling might be, no one else knows except us.
Yeah.
And that calling stays dormant and silent in your mind.
But it keeps pecking away at you.
Yeah, every now and then it will come full show with a vibrant light.
Yeah.
And then it will fade away again.
Yeah.
And then full show. But there is a pivotal moment where it stays full show.
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to disappear.
Yeah.
So I'm here. You're going to have to deal with me.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not going to come and tell you, girl, do this. Girl,
and
do
it's
that.
almost a sense where, I don't know if you went through this moment, but I certainly went through this moment where my business had always been a side hustle to my main corporate job. I've been in corporate for 20 years. And I remember the day I decided to make my side hustle my main hustle, I had to say it out loud. I had to be like, I am the business owner of Evolve Consulting Co. and this is what I do full time. And it was so weird to say, but it's almost like we had to say it out loud in order for it to be true, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it, girl. So tell me.
Let's
what
talk
was your
about
moment?
that. So my moment was few moments.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one moment. My moment was based on four things. One was I have evolved as a human being where I cared so much about local of everything. So local vegetables, local provisions. I became passionate about the climate care and the environment and how hopeless sometimes you can feel for one and say, but I'm only one person. I can't do it. But the fact of the matter is even one person can make a significant contribution. And so that was one thing for me. It was like, what if I did something that I absolutely can contribute to the environment? And I will talk about that. I'm not a fan of certain tea bags or etc. So there are other reasons and things. And the other thing for me, what if the tea that I give becomes a healthy choice? What if I could make a change on another woman or another man or another person, another human being, intake of nutrition where I can provide them with a hot beverage that can actually at the same time feed them some antioxidants and good nutrition.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about my product, which is one of my tea blends, which is purple tea. The purple tea actually has 60% more antioxidants than green tea.
Wow.
So you sip and it's purple and it's the same color as tea. We can talk about that later. But again, the second item was to really, how can I really do a business, a local business, so environment is checked in, something healthy, something that has options with flavor and health benefits for people to drink. And the third one was something that can give me financial independence.
Yep.
Because for women, we know that various times in our lives, our financial needs can get a little bit more complex or less complex. So it'll be really important to have diversified revenue, something that can sustain and provide you provisions, flexibility, lifestyle, all of the above, especially, and this can be really arguably discussed, what is the best time to be an entrepreneur, right? So we can talk about that quite intensively because
there is no good time
There's
ever.
That's right. I'm glad. Yay.
There's nobody that's going to say, hi, I have an offer for you to be an entrepreneur today.
I love this.
You sign on that dotted line yourself, right? And then you're like, what did I do?
This is what I meant when I was saying, let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Because there is never going to be. And luckily,
Never.
it can happen at 60. It can happen at 50. It can happen
Yeah.
at 40. It can happen at 18.
Yeah.
Like
Entrepreneur does not discriminate.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
that's right. So for me, one of the other pivotal items was like, what if I can create, obviously my jobs never gave me enough pension plans and whatnot. So what if I can create for myself financial independence in lifestyle and flexibility? And the fourth one is the one that gives me the most joy, which is what if I can change people's moods with a positive conversation? What if I contribute to mental health? What if we can change that through conversation, sipping a very nice cup of tea without really calling it a mental health crisis? What
Yeah.
if we can just talk
Yeah.
while we have those beverages? And sometimes, and I'll leave that on for another time, hopefully I can come back. What if a
Ceremony.
teacup can talk and how many conversations it's heard?
Yeah. You know what? You bring up such a good point, because the two things that I see are really stark in your vision is that you have the one pillar that has to do with health benefits, antioxidants, the wellness part of the tea. But the second part that I think is so important that I would love for you to elaborate on too is the sense of community it brings and how much it's been through with people, whether it's life changes, whether it's growing up Asian. I'm from Taiwan. Tea is the center as well of all of our community and togetherness. So I think that's what's such a beautiful part of tea. And I know you sell coffee on your website, but coffee does not have that sense of community that it brings together and the stories that people share as a result of that. So tell us more about how that, because that I'm sure has been a big part of your life, right?
It is. That's almost like the nucleus of my business. You've
Hey.
just talked about like the center, the core energy
There it
center
is.
of my business.
It took us 20 minutes. We found it.
We found it. We just arrived.
Yeah.
The nucleus of the main of what really Osobelle Tea is all about. Some of what we do, in fact, I don't like to necessarily use the word high tea because
Yeah.
of the colonial aspects of
Right.
it, but let's call it tea ceremonies.
Yes.
One of the beautiful thing is now we have what I call the back shop pillars. So those are the front shops, the face of the pillars,
Yeah.
but the back is actually the nucleus is community, but much of it stems to communities here and in the farmlands that actually produce the tea.
Okay.
So the idea is to ethically source the tea so that the farmers that we buy from or whoever our tea comes from is ethically sourcing it by paying the farmers adequate wages
Yeah.
and etc.
Yeah.
And then flip that and bringing it to our homes, but then into our community spaces. So Osobelle Tea has just launched 3 times a year a series that are called Community.
I love it.
So it's communi with an I
Yeah.
and the word tea towards the end of it. And so what community does is exactly what you described, is to bring the tea culture to what is now, because our Canadian communities are very diverse. There's the African community, there's the Asian community. Bringing all of the communities together in one room and celebrating something very common as tea is phenomenal.
It's incredible.
So my mother, in the same token, the ground level idea was stemmed from my mother's tea ceremonies. So she used to have every afternoon some of our neighbors, few of her friends, and she would take herbs like ginger, cardamom, cinnamon, black pepper. She'll grind them together
Yeah.
and then do it in a nice hot pot with certain kind of, it's not charcoal,
Like a
but
mortar.
mortar,
Yeah.
but a stone fire, all of it natural. She'll put it in the middle and boil the karo. And I remember very, very vividly that the flavors of the aromatic herbs will come out in the air, and the whole room and the space will really be like, oh, I'm so relaxed.
Yeah.
Right? Talking about mental health.
Like olfactory too.
Olfactory.
Yeah.
And then I remember she would even have a specific cups that she would only bring out during that time.
Yeah.
So everybody would hold their cup and she would pour that for them. And you should see the amount of joy and happiness, the dilation in the pupils as they really conversate and laugh.
Yeah.
And joke. So I'm trying to take you into that space by storytelling.
I can feel it. You know, I can almost smell the ginger, the cardamom, the pepper, and
all of that fuming in. And then they held the tea in their palm with a little bit of temperature, holding it, because that's really what is the grounding aspect of tea is.
Oh, so they would take the grinds while it was warm and put it...
No, they would take the cup instead of... So you hold it instead of really holding the cup by the side. And I think the Asian culture is very similar.
Yeah.
So you would... And it's not by coincidence. Yeah. It's because of the brain and the temperature and refocusing. So you're not doing the dishes while you're having your cup of tea. So tea culture, and then the future of our business also includes, we aspire to sponsor tea conversations for seniors.
What about that group is particularly passionate for you?
Why I'm passionate about that particular group is 3 things. We all carry the seeds of our old age. As we grow gracefully, hopefully we will all once upon a time in the future, at one point in the future, be the seniors in our society. And I think some of the culture that most seniors are acquainted to is tea culture. Ladies would get together once in a while and have tea and socialize. And I feel that a lot of post-COVID ignited a little bit more or emphasized or made isolation a little bit more talked about. It brought it to the surface. Before COVID, everybody was just fine.
Yeah.
But the word social connectedness and isolation resurfaced in a very bold way, especially for seniors. And so the idea is acknowledging the limitations of mobility, right? And acknowledging the limitations of what their cultural needs might be and meeting them at that. If my mom was with us, if she would really necessarily enjoy a cup of coffee at an ex-cafe or whatever, I think she would really love me to create a tea culture and bring it to her and her few of her friends.
Yes.
And just serve them right there where they are. So I
love that. It's almost like an homage to your culture. And I wonder if it has anything to do subconsciously with older people are just so wise. Seniors have this wise, they're filled with stories. Oh my goodness, they have the best stories ever. They've been through wars. It's incredible, right? So how much of that is really a subconscious cultural desire for you to connect with storytellers, which are elders that are revered in cultures like yours and mine, because they really impart a certain kind of wisdom that you just don't get anywhere else nowadays?
70% of the things I know outside of textbook are through storytelling and my grandmother.
Yes. See?
70% of my embedded wisdom that resurfaces now, gently and slowly, is something that I've absorbed while I was little through storytelling under my grandmother's sitting. So I haven't thought about that part, but now that you've really mentioned it is a subconscious, it's like I think I am craving for that. Yeah, I'm craving for that because of how weathered they are.
And they're just so fascinating.
Storytelling in itself is a form of education. Cindy, without the storytelling of my parents and my grandmother and my grandfather, I wouldn't know a third of what I know today.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful way to teach kids is through storytelling, which I feel like we've lost a little bit of the art of that now with kids because everything is so clinical and textbooky, and we need to stimulate their creativity and their imaginations through stories. So I think that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. You today helped me rectify a subconscious item. It's almost as if I have the appetite to still fulfill some more stories. And like you said, they lived through wars.
They have.
They've lived through economical crisis. They've even had, some of them, some serious pandemic stories.
Yeah.
There's a lot. History is fascinating.
It really is. And I don't have any more grandparents on the earth anymore. They passed away when I was in high school. And it's true. You're really missing that element of storytelling that I think is just fascinating, right?
Right.
So let's go back to your business. So how long was it a side hustle? And this year you were like, I've made the announcement that I'm going to make it a full-time business. How long had it been brewing in the back?
I established it in 2019. Until 2020, December, I was blending. Just started working as a director for the Burlington Community Foundation.
Yeah.
But I haven't put my business to rest.
Yes.
It was really like I would come home at 5, take a break, go to yoga and do some stuff. And then I would reconfigure myself and I'll do 8 to 10 or 8 to 11. That's what side hustle does, right?
That's what it is.
I knew that ultimately the urge from me to fulfill that was just becoming more eminent.
Yes.
And more bolder and more vivid.
Yeah.
To clarity. But in January was when I had to do a serious financial commitment to, now that I have blended different blends and different flavors, now is the time to have some fun.
Yeah.
Get some packaging done. So I'm working with the local packaging company right in Burlington again to talk about local and even packaging when it's 10% of the cost when you do it in overseas.
Yeah.
And it costs way more when you do it here at home. I took the leap saying, nope. It has to be authentic.
Yeah.
It's going to be packaged and made in Burlington, owned in Burlington, etc. I do know that I am in Stony Creek, but we're neighbors.
Okay.
So January and then August this year is when I went fully out. And now another thing that would really be cool to have some fun to talk about is how incredibly important but difficult it is to fully own it, to come out and say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is what my brand is. This is what I believe it will be.
Trippy,
This is my mission.
Yeah.
So by the time
totally
you
do.
really own it and you wear the shirt and the rope of your business, now you are unstoppable.
You know what? It's so true. I definitely felt that. The minute I said the words out loud, I am now fully dedicating my time to my business. The stars just aligned. Doors started opening. I started meeting the right people. I had an appetite to meet more people. And that's where the podcast really came in, because I was like, I need to do this at a higher velocity. I need to be able to connect with people on a different level. I think this is where you and I are very similar, is that I've always grown up wanting and having the desire to have an attitude of service. Teach my daughter that. We're in different community things all the time. Between me, my husband, and my daughter will make food for the homeless. And when we started this when she was 3, she'd help pack sandwiches. I want her to grow up knowing that we are civil servants, that ultimately our desire needs to be to give back, because we are so lucky to have all the things that we have.
Especially now more than ever. I'm just very curious because do you feel that your daughter, even at that early age, she's learning the value of service?
I think I don't put the pressure on her so much to understand.
But having
as long
fun.
as me and my husband eat it, live it, and breathe it, which we do, I believe that it's something she'll just pick up with time, right? Like, how could she not? Yeah.
What I meant actually is, like, when you're making the sandwiches, through her interactions, you can tell.
Yeah.
She's having fun, she's enjoying, but also fulfilling her little mini need, which is to help mommy, be part of whatever is happening. But does she see the end? Does she?
Yes. So we're very cognizant of having her see the end result through the process of sandwich making, let's say, right? we're making it, I'm able to tell her stories that you can just open up your fridge and have sandwiches ready to go, but there's actually a lot of people that don't have food. And so it is out of the kindness of our heart, we need to consider others and to feed everybody, like our community, like our village. And then we take it to, there's this park in downtown Hamilton where you drop off food, and then they all the homeless people will know, and there's a couple of shelters in and around that area. They know that's the central point to get it, and they're the nicest people.
Wow.
They never bother anyone. And usually we stay in the car, me and my daughter, and we'll be like, look, this is where Papa's dropping off the food, and he'll drop it off on the bench, and we'll watch everyone come get it. We have her watch the process as well from a safe distance. And when she's a little bit older, I do want to, because we have to feed it to them at what's age appropriate for them, right?
Absolutely.
But I try to paint the picture for her so she's able to see it. And she does. I believe kids are so smart.
They are
very
smarter than we attribute them to.
I agree.
I got very excited because I do know that, again, do you remember how I was talking about how subconsciously I'm looking for that story from my grandparents?
Yeah.
I think what you're doing with your daughter is very similar.
Yeah.
You never know, at some point when she's your stage, when she has her own family, she would resonate and remember my parents. And we made sandwiches together when I was this little, and we took it out. So at that point, the full story would make full sense.
Full circle moment.
Full circle.
Right here, guys, on the Fearless Entrepreneur podcast. Right.
Absolutely.
I love it. I think it's so interesting, and I think tea brings that out in people, right? And through your journey of developing your teas, your packaging is local. Now you work with farmers internationally, right?
Right.
So tell me how you established relationships abroad and bringing the tea here.
So it is not easy because right now I'm able to utilize certain connections that would really source ethically and tie their mission with my mission.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult part is when you're getting food from overseas, you want to make sure that it is, of course, goes through certain processes, and it can become incredibly expensive.
Right.
What I intend to do in the coming few months, I'll be traveling to Kenya. The intent is to fully meet the farmers myself, see their facilities, connect with them from the human level, and bring those stories and the rich culture with me to even further manifest the tea culture in Canada. I can tell you more about where is it that I aspire to go.
Yeah.
And I think it would be really nice to have another podcast sometime in the near future.
When you come back, can we do that?
Absolutely.
Can we do a follow-up?
I would love to
hear. I think that's one of my most favorite parts is like the through line of entrepreneurs then following through their journeys and like achieving their dream. I think,
Cindy, what I said earlier, which is once you really own the coat, you wear the rope, now it's yours.
Oh, you signed on that dotted line.
Yeah, you signed up and you're fully committed in it.
Yeah.
So it is very different than when you have a 9-to-5 and you're like
very different.
Half a foot in, 3/4 a foot in, half a leg in. We can talk about how many variations.
Maybe a toe.
Maybe a toe, and then maybe the toe comes out and then goes back to pinky. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. I get it.
Right. So there's all kinds of, but now I think I'm fully invested. I'm invested to see where this would go.
And you know what it is too?
Fearlessly.
I talk about fearlessly with fear, but leaning right into it. I talk about this a lot on my social, as well as I like to talk to entrepreneurs about it, is when you enter your zone of genius, I like to call it my zone of genius, you really start to shine. And what's work almost doesn't become work because you are just fueled by your next idea, fueled by your next. You wish you had more than 24 hours, and it becomes almost like a child because you invest so much time into it, sweat equity into it, and you just wake up happy every day.
I think so, girl. I think that is really the main thing.
Isn't
High
that
five.
weird? And you're grinding, but you love it.
So I'm journaling.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh, I love this.
I know. And I'm journaling. Some of the notes that are coming out through my journaling is things that I've never, ever included in my work life.
Yeah.
I've never seen, oh my God, today I had so much fun.
Yeah.
I noticed that the pepper was a little too much. I
Yeah.
had to decrease that.
Yeah.
And it was just the taste and the organoleptic taste in our tongue. Some of the things that are really bringing me joy
Yeah.
for a change is worth every minute of it.
Every sleepless night.
Everything. You're loving what you do.
You
is what
really
I mean.
are.
Sometimes, although I have to also talk about that, there's always the fear of burnout.
Well, you've been in corporate long enough where you know what that feels like.
Yeah, nothing compares to that.
Right?
So I'm always cognizant. I know when the spiral, and I know where not to be and how not to be.
Tell us more about that. I think that is such a trigger point for entrepreneurs because we are so passionate about our business that sometimes it's a double-edged sword. It can also be a detriment because you've sunken so much of yourself into the business that you can easily burn yourself out
Very
pretty
easily.
easily. So how do you know what the boundaries and parameters are for yourself, and how do you stop that from happening before it happens?
It's really, like you said, double-edged sword, right? Where I am right now, to give you an example, is instrumental stage of my business. It's I am the blender, I am the seller, I'm the marketer, I'm the social media. I am everything ever needed for Osobelle Tea.
Yeah.
So I think what is really important is to quickly see if I can narrow down that gap to the point where I can hire help. So I'm hoping that this space and stage is not going to be prolonged to the point where it's not sustainable. So strategically in my mind, I have condensed that stage as much as I can to create a good amount, a chunk of opportunity so other women can come in and also help me help them.
Chills. I tell you something?
Yes.
Chills. Okay? I have a chills moment right now.
Oh.
So one of my passions as a recruiter, I have two passions, but I'll talk about this one because this one's more relevant, is as a recruiter, I think one of the most underutilized workforces there are stay-at-home moms.
Absolutely.
They are typically educated. They're great at multitasking. They're very
mastery.
patient. They've typically been in a corporate job before, and they want to work. And they want to do something that all they want is to be able to drop off their kids in the morning and pick their kids up after school and spend time with them. They can work between the hours of 9:15 and 2:30. So it is one of my life's mission to create a fractional workforce for stay-at-home moms to be able to have the flexibility to work and also be a full-time mom.
And I join you in that.
Okay, so Osobelle is going to pilot this program with me.
I am so online. The stars are aligning, girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm so in tuned because guess what? We've all been there and we've all seen
As moms,
both
we've
ways.
been there,
We've
right?
been there. But again, it's a win-win situation.
It is. So I'm piloting it with my business right now.
Yeah.
I hire fractional moms to help me with recruitment. I've created systems. I've created the ability for people to take on as much or as little as they want to. And I want to be able to pilot it in my business first time.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Another part of me that I didn't mention to you is between corporate and nonprofit and between life-changing circumstances. I actually sent myself back to school.
Oh.
I went to McMaster.
Okay.
And I am a human resources management.
Oh, neat. Weird.
So when you get there,
Yeah.
I think I can jump in and you can help me also we can
Yes.
grow together
Yes.
with the community.
Yes.
Resource, which is why it's not by coincidence why
It's
I have a plan to condense that stage
Yeah.
as much as I can
Yeah.
because I anticipate that at some point
You want to grow.
I want to grow.
Yeah.
I might not even have the means to meet the demands if I don't do this.
I will help you with that, girl.
Thank
That
you.
is what I do,
Yay.
right? Now, let's shift tracks into the health benefits of tea really quickly because
Yes.
I know this is something that's really, really important to you is creating a really quality product that not only, brings people together, but it's good for your body, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us about that.
It's one of the main pillars of my
Yes.
business, mainly because I do know and I have experimented the difference between contemporary tea bags versus loose tea or healthy choices. Tea stems versus full whole leaf tea. I don't know if you've noticed when you really brew tea, if you have a full leaf, it's
Yeah.
chunky and it opens, that's what you want.
Yeah.
But when you get like XY brand
Yeah.
and you put it in a tea bag, it's
Doesn't move.
actually, it
Yeah.
is not the same. It's the stems and broken pieces. And
Is that why it tastes so like bland?
it's so blend and you don't know what you're having.
Right.
The idea of healthy tea, cup of tea, has to come from a whole leaf tea in my world.
Yes. That
And
makes
then,
sense.
yeah, and one of the other important aspects of healthy tea beverages is having nighttime, daytime teas. So as women, as we become more, and everybody actually, women and men both, you become more hypersensitive to caffeine
Yeah.
at certain times of the day. And we're going to
Yeah.
talk about that. So one of my brands, for example, is South African Rooibos. We all know that some of the processes that caffeinated drinks go through are chemical interactions. They are either extract the caffeine of what is supposed to have caffeine
Yeah.
or add caffeine onto what is not supposed to have caffeine.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, the process is quite interesting, actually. One of the health conscious pillars of having a healthy cup of tea at Osobelle Tea is making sure that it's always an altered and modified whole leaf beverage. Rooibos is the roots. It's the picky roots, as you know, from South Africa, and it doesn't go through any processes. Taste is like tea, gorgeous in color.
Yeah.
It's beautiful
It's like
red
red
velvet.
tea.
It tastes unpleasant.
Yeah.
And you can just, again, add your favorite spices into
Yeah.
it, or skip all that and buy our chai rooibos.
Yes.
Which is already...
this
and
one
I-
right here, right? Oh, no,
Yeah.
here. Earl Grey
no,
Rooibos.
Earl Grey, and then the Earl Grey rooibos. I think really at some point I'll be really excited to hear you see
Oh my
when
God,
you
let me
smell
smell
it,
it.
because we're just opening
Yes.
one of the tea packages. But there we go. The aroma of the cardamom and spices in,
Oh, I can already smell it. I haven't even opened
I
it
know,
yet.
and making sure that you're not really taking any chemicals in that process. And I know. So
It
there
is
you
so
go.
good.
So it's really, again, the health consciousness comes in place by knowing what's your daytime tea and evening time teas are for chilling. Do you need a quick pick-me-up in the morning? And so you should do like something like a signature tea. And then this is
So
the one where
good.
we'll be having some fun brewing later on.
We're going to
Yeah.
drink it now,
Yeah.
but the Earl Grey, so I'm holding in my hand the Earl Grey Rooibos tea, and it's so trippy because
Yes.
it smells like Rooibos, but then you get that Earl Grey that just like kicks you in the side of your senses too. So
Right.
it's
And
beautiful.
It is. And when you
And it's
brew...
caffeine-free?
It's caffeine-free. That's
Wow,
what
how
it's
is Rooibos and Earl Grey caffeine free?
So the Earl Grey flavor is coming from the cardamom flavor that's in there. And then the tea, instead of a tea leaf, is the rooibos. So when you brew them together, the
incredible.
color is perfect, the aroma is perfect, the
gonna
mood
have
is
that
perfect.
tonight.
Oh, go for it, girl.
Yeah.
So I do alternate, and I kid you not, every evening, even though as biased as it is, as the owner of Osobelle Tea, I do
Yeah.
brew religiously a pot of tea every evening.
Every night.
Typically, I'll do the chai rooibos or I'll do Earl Grey.
Yeah.
It's caffeine-free. It's hot beverage. There's no sugar in it.
Oh.
It's my unwinding time, and it's the aroma and the flavor. So to come back to you, the health benefits. And then I have one of the lines that we carry is called purple tea.
Yes.
So the purple tea is, again, a wholesome whole tea leaf, only grows in high altitudes, the highlands of Kenya.
Wow.
Nowhere else in the world.
What is the flower or the plant?
It's exactly the same as black tea.
Okay.
The only difference is it's exposed to a lot of sunlight.
Because of the altitude.
The altitude,
Yes.
and then it gets the pigments just like blueberries, and that's where the antioxidants come from.
Yeah.
Because it has now, simply by brewing 3 cups of tea a day.
Yeah.
And the caffeine level is less than black tea.
Yeah.
little more than green tea. So it's
Yeah.
like a middle scale. Is what I call the afternoon tea.
This is like you've had lunch, you're a little bit sleepy.
Yeah, the after,
need a
and you
little
don't want to take
pick-me-up.
off.
Yeah.
Because
But you need to sleep at nighttime.
That's right.
Okay.
I think really positioning and women becoming really aware about that they have options of caffeine release. They have options of when they drink, the what and the when and the flavors, what suits you, the mood.
Yeah.
So some of our new packaging actually will have a daytime and nighttime.
Love it.
So there's no confusion.
I love that. That's a branding thing. Like
That's- I have.
daytime, nighttime. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love
and,
this.
And it's make me your cup of tea, daytime, nighttime.
Yeah, don't even need to think about it. Osobelle will take care of
Well,
the
I'll take
time
care of
for
it. All you do
Okay.
is know your daytime. You
Yeah.
take that. All you do is know your
Nighttime.
nighttime. And that's and then there is the evening. The purple tea, for instance, for my lifestyle, I drink the purple tea when I am going for hiking midday.
Because it gives you that extra,
It gives me
you know.
steady energy.
Yeah.
It's not, whoo, I don't
Yeah.
take off and I don't crash.
Yeah.
I'll brew that. It's purple. It's a little bitter. It's not as bitter taste as much as, let's say, green, but it's
Oh,
a
yes.
variation of green.
Okay, because I can take a good green tea as an Asian
You would
person.
love,
I'm like,
you would
yeah.
love purple tea.
Hey, I
It's
can't wait
that
to try
pick-me-up,
it.
bitter taste, and then you come back. And
Yeah.
the idea is staying hydrated because the less caffeine to the evening, obviously, as a woman, the less you have to get up.
So I have a question. Let's try your tea. I want to hear what's going on. You brought your signature tea, which is, if I understand correct, this is very nostalgic reminds you of your mom's blend. Is that right?
Absolutely. So
Yes.
this is.
Oh.
I hope it's still hot because I think we've been. Yeah, it is.
You can drink it cold too. So
Yeah, that's
fine.
right. Yeah, you can actually. I didn't realize how nice it is, even cold. Can
Oh
you
my
tell the
goodness.
flavors?
Orange.
Yeah.
Is there like an orange pico in there?
No, it's actually made with a whole leaf Kenyan tea.
Okay.
It has got a hint of very subtle spices.
I can taste the spices. Yeah.
So it's like cardamom, and this is my mom's blend precisely. So it has a distant cinnamon, a little bit of distant ginger, a little bit of distant cardamom. It's got a distant black pepper in it. But
it's like black tea, but it almost has a hint of green tea in it. It's very nice.
it is. And it's very funny because right now it feels as if it can really use, I don't know about you, but right now I can have it hot or I could put some ice.
Yeah, you can. And the coloring of it, it's almost like this beautiful, rich orange color.
Yeah.
Like your shirt. Like it's beautiful.
It is very bright. And don't you think it's really awesome as soon as the fall comes in? And can you just picture
Yeah.
yourself having a nice cup of tea?
Yes.
And even though it's not as warm as it needs to be, you could sit at your deck and read.
Yes. That's what
And-
you did today.
That's what I do regularly
I
sometimes.
love it.
It's
Oh
my,
gosh.
So we were talking, cheers by the way.
Cheers.
So in my earlier you were asking me about well-being and how an entrepreneur can really avoid burnout.
Yeah.
So every one of us copes with it differently. For me, coming from a culture that coped with that differently, the women typically don't hold 9 to 5, but they do have jobs. It's just the timing is a little bit more flexible. And not many people drove cars.
Yeah.
Right? So you walk in spaces. So literally your fitness level has maintains itself
Yeah.
through the nature and the environment that you
Yeah.
live in. So here you have to really be intentional. And even though you're working, you go, oh, it's time for me to get up.
Yeah.
I'm going to stretch and I'm going to go downstairs.
You have to have reminders. Right.
Literally
Yeah.
reminders. But the part that I find for me as an entrepreneur, everyone is different. It doesn't mean that we all like hikes or we all like yoga or we all like this. But I have benefited so much about yoga.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're
Love yoga.
I can't say enough about it.
I love the meditation of it. I
Yeah.
love the stretching of it. I love the breathing.
I feel as if really, if it was my way, I would make yoga mandatory for all entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
men and women.
Yeah.
And in fact, yoga monitor and all human beings.
I know. And meditation
and
too.
meditation, because only the reason being is that the movements that you're making and the stretches that you're making. But for me, where I benefited most of that aspect while I'm an entrepreneur and a hustler is I needed something to slow me down.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, now you're asking one body part at a time how it's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like shoulder is sore.
Yeah.
Or your leg is sore. Okay. We're going to work with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So
You
it's
have
like,
to be really conscious of what you're feeling rather than how you're feeling, right?
that's right. And the
Yeah.
second one is walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things that you don't really need a lot of resources other than, of course, knowing that once you, I don't know about you, Cindy, but for me, I can stay on my computer for 7, 8, 9 and not make a beep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Not
I
have
c-
to move.
I have
mean,
the potential.
My 5-year-old makes me move, but
Yeah, for me, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. For me, I can really be glued in that.
Yeah.
And then it'll be 4 and I'll go, what just happened?
yes, I know.
But then the thing I also learned is let me get this task, the next task done.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go after this third task
Yeah.
is done.
But the tasks never end.
And they prolong longer when
Yes.
you're fatigued.
Yeah.
And when you're, so I don't know, can you verify what I'm about to tell you?
100%.
So when you go for a walk and you come back, or when you step away and you come back, do you start working faster?
I feel like I have more energy, right?
Thank you.
Like it doesn't, like I'm just not as racy with my thoughts. And I'm just like, okay, like I've had fresh air in my lungs, and I do try to make an intentional time to walk every day, but it's almost like I have to schedule it in. If I don't, it just won't happen.
I came in full understanding is that when I go for my walks, it's not a subtraction from my time.
Yes.
It's actually an addition.
addition.
It really is an
I like
addition.
it.
Yeah. So for the longest time, I thought if I go for 2 hours walk, it's going to subtract from my productivity. It's going to interfere with how many calls I make. It's going to interfere with my job.
I love it.
But really, it is never an subtraction. Never, ever, ever. You go away, you walk away, you walk back in. But now
More
your focus is
productive.
better.
Interesting.
And you're focused and you can get things a lot even faster. And often you would go, wow. And then the days where you really don't recognize that and you stay in, you're still scratching your head,
yeah.
trying to figure out. And it's 6 o'clock and I'm like, still
Yeah.
haven't figured out.
Yeah, and your belly hurts because you're like, you haven't breathed all day and you can't sleep because your mind just doesn't stop racing. It's a big trickle effect. But I love what you said. It's not a subtraction, it's an addition
It really
to your
is.
productivity, right? Wow. You're just a wise soul right here. Just you're
Yeah.
filled with good nuggets for entrepreneurs that I think is really important. As you become an entrepreneur, you really also need to have that time for yourself. Otherwise, you burn out. And even for people in corporate jobs, I think that's important
They
too.
needed more.
I think in corporate jobs, they need to have mandatory walk time at 2 to 2:30 where everyone just goes and walks.
I
I don't
always
care
said
where you
that.
walk, but just walk. Okay, so how many blends of teas do you currently have now?
We have 6.
Okay.
But now we're moving into space where we're getting into the holidays. So as I'm really fully committed, we're adding 7 more.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And mainly the 7 more seasonal.
Right.
So
They come and go
They
kind
come
of
and
thing?
go.
Okay,
So
great.
we will have the winter holidays and Christmas. We will have one that is launched. We'll have a different one for Eid and Diwalis. And so we can address every culture
I love it.
the way they celebrate and bring it home to them.
I love that. It tastes so yummy. Like the tea is just
Thank
still in
you.
my mouth. I can taste it. It's fragrant and spicy. So, my final question for you is, what would your husband say about your tea company?
I think he would be my greatest cheerleader. I think he would take a big, what is it called? Whistle or whatever.
Trumpet?
Trumpet.
Yeah.
And he would just blow out of his lungs to the maximum and say, go girl. He would say, go girl. And and I'm saying this mainly because much of who I am I got married at 18.
Wow.
I was still in school. He was my soulmate.
Wow.
25 years of what is best marriage I can ever describe. It was almost like a power couple. We could just look in the eye and download what each one is thinking about.
Wow.
So the synergy and synchronization was like almost ideal.
Yeah.
So I think he would probably read some of my fears if he was here. And I think he would also diminish them. He would reassure and say, because again, all of these things don't just come to life at once. I think 25 years of learning from each other and learning each other's patterns, strengths. Otherwise, I don't like to use the word weakness. You would never find me, because I do believe that none of us have a weakness. It's just opportunities. And otherwise, that is really the way to see it.
Yeah.
In my world, opportunities become fear, right? So it's an opportunity. It's coated with a lot of layers of fear to penetrate through.
Yeah. And especially because you're still early on in the stages of your business.
Yeah.
There's more questions than there are answers at this point. But,
and you can't learn them until you do them. That's
no
the fun
fast
part.
track to this.
There's the fun part is you need the data, you need to do the walk.
Yeah.
You need to do the talk and see it.
Yeah. And you need to feel the burn. You need to feel that burn. That's really beautiful.
It's burn. The burn is real.
The burn is real. Okay. So, I always like to end on a segment where it's get to know your CEO. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one, but are you a dog or a cat person?
I think, I'm a dog person.
How much time we got?
Jack is beautiful. He is my son, and my daughter-in-law actually adopted. It was supposed to be like just temporary rescue period.
Yeah, like a foster parent.
I've heard that none of that ever happens.
Foster fails is what they call them.
Yeah, almost all the time stays.
Yeah.
It started like that. It was just an act of kindness. They were really traveling and they wanted to do something special, but then that something special became a great family member.
Yeah.
So he's very compassionate. He's very intelligent. He's beautiful. He has 2 colored eyes.
Yeah.
A husky mate of things. But he can really read your mood and comfort you.
Dogs have that amazing ability.
I didn't know that. So up until before, I've never had a dog. As a matter of fact, I was always scared of dogs.
Oh, interesting.
And now it's very different. It's
Can't live without them, hey?
It really is. It's the companionship.
Yeah. It's the unconditional love.
Yeah, and the sensory, knowing what's happening in the house.
Yeah.
Like how they're really tuned. And we can
all
do
day
a whole
long,
podcast on that one.
Just on dogs. I love it. And how long does it take for you to get ready in the morning?
I'm a very easy girl.
Okay, me too. Me too.
Yeah. I'm super easy. The biggest thing is which top to wear and which scarf to wear.
Yeah.
And I if I have them lined up, so I would say honestly 10 minutes tops.
And your skin is beautiful.
Oh,
like you don't need to do anything
because
there's
a little bit of powder today.
My goodness. I can't even tell. You can tell you just got that glow. And it's true. I've traveled to East Africa before, and it is amongst women who have the most beautiful skin. Is it the tea? I don't even know.
It could be. Actually, truly could be, because we can talk. I can talk about skin glowing and the foundation of tea. But I think shea butter has a lot to do with that.
Okay.
I think
shea butter has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, because the part of self-care includes organic moisturization.
Yeah.
And it's funny, in here, we do that only bedtime. Mm-hmm. In Africa, you do it anytime, girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just when your skin feels dry, slap it on,
you slap it on. You're doing on your computer. You don't wait until you go to bed. You just do this and
That's why your skin looks incredible. Oh, my goodness. What's one word that describes your journey?
Exhilarating.
This is just an overall word for you. Exhilarating.
Yeah.
Why?
I try to find things are moving in a space where you think you have control, but you truly don't. You're experimenting different niches, different venues, different products, different product lines, different clients, different sectors. So there's a lot of immediate heart pump unknowns, and you're navigating through it. So it's like a maze, and you're navigating through it. The stars are aligned as far as you can see, but the nuances aren't. So you're continuously shuffling through the nuances to make sure that they group together with the stars where the direction is going.
Yeah.
So you're bringing this one, and then, oh my God, the learnings never stop.
I think that's what's exhilarating is you're just constantly learning, right?
You're constantly learning. You're constantly, sometimes hourly pivoting in certain days.
Yeah.
So imagine and that was another thing earlier. If my husband was here, he would probably say, girl, I couldn't do that.
Oh.
It's a mastery of multitasking. It's a mastery of also quickly adapting and jumping on the wagon and getting off and then jumping on another one and getting off. And
that's why I think women are the most underutilized talent there is, because we're very talented as people.
Oh, we're
beyond
engineered
yes
with talent.
Seriously,
because I think it's a God-given, if you believe in God, it's a God-given nature. It's the ability,
it's in our DNA.
It's in DNA. It's the nature. It's the idea of while you're asleep and actually resting, you can hear your daughter's room. Who can do that?
Do
you know what I mean? That's why when you said you got the chills because of the moms being under, they are really talented.
They really are. Yeah.
And committed.
That unwavering loyalty to family, to friends, to community.
Seasoned.
Yes.
Because again, there is no greater training than being responsible for a little person who completely depends. I'm just saying the responsibility, the sense of heightened alertness that you have to have. It's a lot.
It's a lot. But women do it on a day-to-day basis.
They do.
Right?
And they do a great job.
They do. I have just had the best time talking to you, Osob, and I think that we could sit here and talk for hours and hours because I enjoy your story. And not even only that, I enjoy your energy. You have such an authentic energy to you, and your business will be successful just because it's your heart. And I'm a true believer that anyone who puts their heart into everything consistently on a daily basis, they're successful. There's no other, the formula always works out to that way. So I think you're just incredible. And everyone can find you on Instagram. We'll link it in the show notes, Osobelle Tea, as well as on LinkedIn. All right.
I love that. So the community series.
Awesome. And they can find all of that information on Instagram,
and on my website.
And on your website. Perfect. Thank you so much. I so enjoyed our time together, and I think you're a very special lady.
Thank you, Cindy. I had the best time of my life. I think this is really fantastic. I love the energy, and thank you. It's so nice to show how much fun you can have.
Totally.
With tea.
It's super fun.
It's so much fun. And we're still here. We're still alert.
We're still, yes.
And so thank you. And I'm looking forward to connecting more and building a better relationship.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fearless Entrepreneur podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. For more insights and resources to help your business grow, visit evolveconsultingco.com. Let's continue to turn entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Hang around for our next episode where we feature another bold Canadian entrepreneur. Until next time, stay fearless.